What is going on, everybody? Justin Thomas here. Welcome to the Justin Thomas Show. If you have not subscribed already, make sure to do so. I cover Game of Thrones, Westworld, Peaky Blinders, and much, much more.
I need a bed, some chow, and then you and me sit down and we talk about who dies. Huh?
Biopic about Al Capone, starring Tom Hardy. This is an Al Capone that we have not seen. A Al Capone that it is what it is. They're taking a really, really different approach with this film, and it's very exciting. But I think it really matters that when people go to watch this film, they're going into it knowing what this film is going to be about. Because again, this is not going to be fit the mold that maybe a lot of just like casual gangster film fans are. I mean, they're dealing with some really, really dark, deep issues. So if Trank does not handle this film right, he could be walking in a minefield here because he could have something really great. And I have a lot of faith in Tom Hardy. I mean, they're dealing with some really, really dark, deep issues. So to show his medical condition, which it is a little bit silly and explains.
Coming out of my car. What is it? Nothing. What are you going to do? I'm going to stop thinking about it. Good idea. Hey, Al, how about one penicillin shot? Nope. Let's ignore it. And, you know, he's afraid of needles and syphilis rots his brain. Soon after, he becomes a fucking babbling idiot.
And Josh Trank is his fame now. It used to be Chronicle, which is pretty damn good. He made a good film without a lot of money. And Max Landis, who love him or hate him, he's interesting in on that one as well. And that was a huge success. When you say Josh Trank, you will think Chronicle anymore. You will think Fantastic Four. You know, say what you want to say about that. I don't have time to get into it, but you could make the argument that the studio meddled too much. But the point is, Trank dropped the ball with Fantastic Four. He was given a large property, and it didn't turn out well. You can say the studio meddled or whatnot, but hey, you want to know what? At the end of the day, you got to make it work. You know, studios meddle all the time. Fantastic Four was an epic failure, one of the largest failures in recent times, and that is what he's known for. So now he's taking on Fonzo. Fonzo is the story of Al Capone in his late years, his last years. And now it's very important to recognize that Al Capone in his late years, after he served his time in federal prison, the last three of those years of his term were served in Alcatraz, where he received medical treatment. They quickly found out that the man had been suffering from syphilis.
That's when they started giving him, like, you know, a medical test. And
it is when you have syphilis for so long and ignore syphilis for so long that it rots your brain away and you become just a mental midget.
Pee and pus when he was fucking 18 years old. They didn't fucking say anything about it. Syphilis.
This isn't your penultimate, like shoot 'em up gangster film. This is going to be a story about a mentally deranged man.
Love this one. Paranoid schizophrenic who walks into a bar.
He went from being a competent businessman for the most part. He was actually a legitimate bookmaker. It was adulthood. And then he got brought back to Chicago by Johnny Torrio, who he had a edge on a lot of the gangsters who were primarily just always dependent on prohibition lasting forever. He
expand his empire in case prohibition was repealed. He took over labor unions, chauffeurs, plumbers, city workers, motion picture projectionists, soda pop peddlers, kosher poultry dealers. And he toyed with the idea of going into the dairy business because more people bought milk than booze. Besides, the markup was higher. Honest to God, he said, we've been in the wrong racket right along. Meanwhile, President Hoover remained determined to put America's most famous bootlegger behind bars, one way or another.
Always a syphilitic moron. He wasn't always having the mind of a 12-year-old.
You got a 90 IQ, but you sure knew who to kill, and that's pretty smart.
This is not like a film that you look at on paper and say, hey, this is a slam dunk. No, this is a risky move, especially for a guy that's coming off of what would probably be considered one of the biggest failures in, the fandom in recent years, if not the last 10 years. You know, I mean, Fantastic Four was an epic failure. There's no way around it. It was a disaster. And now he's taken on this film that is going to be a film that is going to all depend on people being able to accept that this is not going to be a straightforward story of Al Capone's rise from, 5 Points gangster to Chicago and Cicero gangster and his downfall. This is not going to be that. This is going to be a depiction of a man that has slipped into madness and is suffering the consequences of his horrible actions. This is going to be I think that Trank needs to bring some people in that can focus more on the actual character-driven story that this is, because this again is not going to be a huge action set piece by any means. Hopefully they can get those watershed moments, and I don't know, IMDb is all we have to look off of right now, but I don't see a Heine Weiss, I don't see a Bugs Marone, I do not see a Dean O'Banion, I don't see anybody that I don't, I see Torrio, and all I see is Johnny, and I'm just assuming Matt Dillon will play a Johnny Torrio. That would make sense, so we will get some maybe watershed moments. I see Ralph, I see his brother, Linda Cardellini playing May Capone, his wife, and then his son. So then you probably have some goons. So we're going to be seeing a very psychological thriller almost, not Goodfellas, not Casino, not a shoot 'em up gangster film, which and I'm not downing on the people that are going to go into. I just don't think if you go into this film looking for that, then you are not going to be happy.